We're kind of lucky living in Missoula because we're so far away from everything else that we have managed to cobble a scene together here. But Missoula is so far off the beaten path, people in the industry don't even know that it exists. I don't mean to put myself down or put down my band, but yeah, the chances of a band making it from Missoula is really small, you know?
As far as breaking out of Missoula, the Walking Corpse Syndrome is the top spot right there. I mean, let's think of it as if we were all part of the Walking Corpse team, they're our meal ticket. That's what we're gonna look at. It's like we're really banking on you guys to make it because we know you have what it takes to make it.
When you play show after show after show and you see like people who have never been exposed to your music before and you see them like get caught up in the moment and start dancing and start moshing and you just hear that question over and over again of why aren't you bigger? So I do have a belief that we're onto something, that we have something good. And then it becomes like, well, why haven't we blown up yet? Why hasn't our music been shared at the same rate that other people's music has been shared, you know?
As an unsigned band, as a local band, it's insanely hard to make it. There is no make it anymore. You don't get signed to a record label. You don't get discovered. So any local band out there that thinks like, hey, if I play this show and, you know, I have these people show up, we're going to get discovered and get signed. It doesn't happen. Like, drop that idea. It doesn't happen. The only way you're going to make it is if you do it yourself. That's the only way.
Because there is an old joke that in the music industry, what's the best way to make $1 million in the music business? Start out with $10 million, you know? And I'm sure that rate of return's even lower and more horrible with death metal. Our ambition is still intact. We just, you know, we're not in a sprint anymore. We're definitely doing this as a marathon instead of thinking that like, yeah, this next song that we release is going to go viral and everybody's going to love it. Like, once you pull back the curtain and you see the wizard working the levers, you know, overnight successes usually take years and years to happen. So we just keep hoping that if we put the mechanisms in place and do the groundwork and go out there and build relationships one at a time, you know, the next song that we release, maybe it will go more viral.
You make those little connections with people so that they keep coming to your shows. Because you're never going to have that one show that just blows your band up and makes you a huge success. You have to keep building and building and building. You got to put your foundation in and build from there. And that way you stay stable. Because if you do for some reason have that one show that blows you up and makes you massive, and you haven't put that foundation in, it's real easy to fall off the top.
The more people that they impress, they'll become corpse walkers. Every corpse walker they make is turning into their street team, and their street team's just getting bigger and bigger. They're one of those ones that go out there and put the grind so hard with everything, and then they've taken it on the road. Where this day and age, with people working full-time jobs, the band is working full-time jobs and still managing to cover much of the Northwest. That shows true dedication, I think. When they get, on stage to accept their award for whatever they win an award for, best guttural growl, we're going to be at home watching, just so proud, like tears streaming down both eyes, just like, those are boys right there.
We still want to become a fully sustainable band, a professional band. Like if somebody defines professional as being able to do that thing and make a living from it, we want to do that.
You're always looking for those different steps up. It's little steps at a time. You're never going to go from here and immediately jump up to the top. It just doesn't happen.
There's no secret formula other than working and other than being ready for success. So if that's the same that's true for being in music or being in business or being in a relationship or anything, is that you have to set yourself up to be successful and to take advantage of those opportunities when they come your way.
So the big stupid box comes outside. Oh my god. Less stupid boxes can go inside. But we need the hell yes first.
I need the big fuck up box loaded and trying to get Greg that.
We need the hell yes.
I don't want to wait for us to be over. Want to know right now what does it mean?
What? Fucking stinks in there.
So that's your cigarettes and drink booze.
Fucking pipe. This is the awesome part of the show.
Beep beep on the Jeep.
Neil, you said you were getting us roadies, didn't you? Okay. Get on that shit.
It's a very delicate process loading the fuck off
I don't want to be
box.
in a band anymore. Neil, let's run away and be gay together.
And I think it's a credit to us as, not only musicians, but people that we, every year we get more mature, we grow up, we learn from our mistakes and figure out what to do right, what not to do wrong, so that every time we go out and we tour, it gets just a little bit easier and a little bit easier.
This is really tough with the whole family life. I mean, you literally have to put everything second to this to do it right, in my opinion.
You have to prioritize. You also have to have a really strong foundation, for back home. And I think that, like I've got an awesome wife that totally supports, me being in the band and going off and playing and touring.
If I could be out on the road touring all the time, I absolutely would. I'd miss my family and my kids, but there's no drug like it on the planet, being out on the road, and it sucks driving from city to city, getting no sleep whatsoever, eating bullshit food out of a gas station, but it is all worth it for that 25 or 45 minutes on stage. It's so worth it.
So I look at what Walking Corpse Syndrome has done, in the 11-ish years that we've been together. And for better or for worse, I know I've made mistakes, but we've done some pretty cool things. We've been featured in national media. We've driven across the country. We made it down to El Paso. That's a long fucking drive. And these tours have pretty much paid for themselves, you know, being a DIY band from Montana. And we have friends like in all of these places we've stopped at now, you know, who are just, it just feels like they're waiting for us to come back, you know. And in order to come back, I just have to figure out how can we come back and have it be better.
So what I've been working on is learning a new program, which is going to allow us to start working on our actual lighting for our show. That's one of the things that we've always kind of lacked. We've never had our own lights, and it's something we really want to do. Do I have any idea what the hell I'm doing with this program? Hell no, but I'm gonna figure it out. Because ain't nobody gonna do it for you. You gotta do it yourself.
There are other bands in this scene. They are my friends. And there is a sense of competition with it too. And maybe they don't feel it, but I'm a competitive person. So like I want to be competitive against them for like doing the best show possible.
And look at this. Life will be happy. I even gave him a beer. That's right.
And at the end of the day, the thing that we're all like competing against is apathy. We're all competing against Netflix, and we're all competing against online gaming or just gaming in general. Because like at the end of the day, we're just trying to get people to leave their house and come to our show.
We have to operate as a team. Everybody's pulling in the same direction or pushing in the same direction. And you know, the old saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link, is totally appropriate. It's true.
You'll start working against each other to not be the weakest link. You're just like, so you did how much practice? Well, I lifted weights the other day. You know, it's like, and pretty soon everyone's just trying to like not be that low guy, and everyone just kind of works harder and harder, and pretty soon you have this like perfection thing that's going on, or it's just so fucking awesome. You're doing all these things that are just perfect, and you're like, wow, how did we get here? It's like, well, no one wanted to suck.
One of the things most people don't think about with bands is the amount of administrative work that actually goes into being in a band. Thankfully, Matt takes care of pretty much all of that. He tracks all of the statistics for the band, from Facebook likes all the way down to what bands we've played with. And he does all of this on a series of spreadsheets.
Matt does love a good spreadsheet.
Matt has a spreadsheet to show how many spreadsheets he's done for the spreadsheets that he's done.
And I'm sure his one for the band is quite thorough.
Like, the guy dreams about spreadsheets. He even has like a sheet on his bed that looks like a spreadsheet. I mean, it's weird.
This is why he's band dad. He does all the businessy stuff. He's pretty decent at it, so.
It's been really nice having Tana in the band take on more of the work. She does like our tour managing for us, plots out our schedule, our itinerary. She is very much a perfectionist, which is great for the things that need perfectionism.
You lift up, I will push. I will push him, mighty. My favorite part is engaging my core while I do that.
Tana's totally the band mom. Tana's directing, and you know, like, we're her little marionettes, and she's just puppeteering us around, which is awesome because she does a really good job at it. You know, isn't like a hard ass or a dick about it, you know. So it makes the flow go a lot better because we're all just a bunch of meatheads, and we need a little bit of guidance, especially Sean.
And I take the time to be really nice and cautious so that the sticky stuff doesn't pull his arm hair like what I just did.
Not only do I get to be in a pretty cool metal band, travel all over the place, see a bunch of different cities that I otherwise never would have gone to, most likely, but I get to do it with my brother. You know, as much of a piece of shit as he is, I get to do it with my brother.
Pretty.
God, you're so good.
All right.
Man, I was hoping for a hard hit.
They're brothers. I get it. You have to nag and poke and kind of be a dick to your brother. That's just how it is sometimes. Obviously, they get along really well, otherwise they wouldn't do that. Oh, merch. Typically now, Leif and I kind of are the ones that set it up. Sometimes just me. I do all the organization, like all the writing on the tape that's on everything is all my writing. I kind of keep it organized. I don't know why it turned into my job, but it did.
We have all of this merchandise and we want to sell lots of it, so we have to make sure we know where merch is, and it's really confusing. And we've had one of our major points of pride is when we play shows with bigger bands and their merch people look at our merch setup and they go, wow, we really like your merch setup. That makes us feel warm and fuzzy on the inside.
Whoa, I drank an energy drink. I have coffee. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go.
So once it gets set up, and if nobody's there, somebody's got to be at the merch booth. Maybe not all the time right in the beginning, but most of the time. Typically winds up being me, because the guys are either out drinking beer or throwing darts or playing kissy face in the corner or whatever it is that they're doing. And so kind of get stuck with the merch booth. And by stuck, I mean I'm just kind of sitting there, because mostly you're not really doing much in the beginning.
I like these zeros because they don't have so much sugar. So if you get too much sugar, they get too excited.
Yeah, like that orange crap that Jimmy had, which tasted okay until you got like halfway through it and you're like...
Yeah, like, it's like Kool-Aid with like the ones that your mom made where
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
I'm ready.
I'm like,
ready.
okay. 210, 250, why not?
210, that's bullshit.
All right. I need more energy drink. Well, I guess that worked out.
Yeah.
You're the hardest person
You know what? Fuck you, because I told the trailer was unlocked.
Dude!
This is straight up ranch.
I said the trailer was unlocked. Come get me to lock in. I said I was gonna go.
Leif is basically the cheerleader. Leif, our vocalist. He's the cheerleader. He's always just fairly upbeat, just wants everything to be like up here all the time.
So Leif hates anything white.
White sauce. He's one of them
Creamy.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, so like ranch, mayo.
He listens to the most amount of metal, I think, out of all of us. Especially like the tech death stuff, the really extreme stuff. He's really expanded my horizons. So he's the main reason why Walking Corpse Syndrome has gone into a harder, more intense, more technical direction.
I think it's because he grew up on a farm outside Brady.
Yeah, I'm going now.
Alright, I'm coming with you.
Things happen in the corn.
Give it to me. God damn it. It's always good to warm up the jaw.
Leif, he's always working. He's prepared. He does his homework, but he also, you know, from what I observe, has a lot of struggles because he's running a big farm and it's very time consuming. You know, that's his livelihood. If he wasn't doing that, you know, he'd be, you know, digging in trash cans for cheeseburgers or some shit like that, you know.
I am from Brady, Montana. That's where the farm is, that's where I'm from, that's where my family's from. 5 generations of matriarchal passing down, if you will. I'm like 5th generation, but it was passed down through the women all the way up to me. It was like literally the first male to take it over. Growing up here, it's kind of tough, I'm not gonna lie. It's just you don't have near the things you would have in a city. You know, it's like you gotta drive 2 miles to get a cup of coffee. It's very isolated. You don't just go to the store, you know, so you don't go to the arcade and play. You don't go to the playground and meet your friends, you know. It's like you gotta call people and you gotta find a ride into town, and then hopefully there'll be enough of you around that you can actually get a baseball game going. And it's just, you know, it's just so small. You'd play like 3-on-3 baseball because that's all you could find to do. Everything is just a long trip. You want groceries, it's 10 miles away, you know. It's not just down by the street. You don't get to go have some ice cream at the Dairy Queen down the street. You have to go 10 miles to get an ice cream cone. It's just kind of weird in that whole sense. Not that it's bad, it's just way different. My job is, you know, pretty physical, so I stay in pretty good shape that way too. But no, just a lot of writing out here more than anything, because you're alone, you got nothing to do, so you just kind of gives you way too much time to think. It's the worst part. I really like to push myself, vocally especially, in a lot of ways. Well, I push myself with just about everything. I don't know why I do that. It's like, that's pretty good. Maybe I could do it more, harder, faster, quicker. And so people are starting to notice that we have this like fast, kind of almost rappy like style, you know. But I'm really excited about it because I think we're kind of pushing things in a different, heavier direction, and I think people are kind of responding well to it. They're kind of liking it, you know. When we keep getting heavier, and we don't even mean to, it's just what comes out. And people seem to like it. I'm really excited for the stuff coming out because when Wolf comes out, it's going to be hopefully massive.
The role of pre-production is to test stuff out, get guiding tracks for the studio. Hannah did the bulk of the pre-production work. She got things ready, and to her credit, she's never done pre-production before. And I think we're just trying to shove a St. Bernard through a dog door on this album. So we started working on the new album, and we wrote like a whole bunch of songs really quickly, and then something changed. We came into the practice space and we were listening to the music. I was like, this is not it. We need to make it nastier. We need to make it harder. We need to make it more bleak, more dark, you know, or whatever, just thrashier. And we ended up writing a song that became Bled Her. And it is so different than anything that we've done before this. Like this collection of songs, it's gonna separate what we used to do versus what we're going to be doing in the future.
Let's get
It's my job to make sure that we're moving forward. So Sean's a perfectionist. Tana's a perfectionist. I am not a perfectionist. Perfection is the enemy of good, right? And in this industry, in this world right now, there's not much room for perfectionism. You know, we're not Tool. We can't really afford to take 13 years to put out an album. We have to put out stuff and we have to put out product. And fortunately, I come from a punk rock background also. So there's a certain amount of just joy and delight about having like capture that moment. Walking Corpse Syndrome is all about the shows and the energy that we have with our shows. So how do we capture that energy and still like have the detail work? That's kind of the yin and yang with me and Sean and Tana. They're very much perfectionists. And I have to have a bigger personality than them in order to ring them in and make sure that we're getting stuff out the door. I know that that's not where metal is right now. Metal is very precise because they program their drums and they program their guitars and they reamp everything. And it sounds good, it sounds big, but it's not as natural as just like getting in there and playing the show. After we lost our bassist, after we decided not to get another bassist trained up for the album, we went with Tana. Tana volunteered, and I had complete trust that she would be able to not only have the bass parts, like write bass parts, memorize bass parts, and be comfortable playing them in the studio. She's an amazing musician, and I feel very fortunate that we have her on our team. I mean, can you imagine trying to train up a bass player like weeks before we go into the studio, like months? Like we didn't have the time for it, so we had to make a calculated decision to not hire a bass player in time for the studio. And a lot of people, I think, would look at us and think that we were crazy and that we did the wrong thing.
We go with top-notch recordings, which future bands out there, don't skip on the recording. Skip anywhere else, but do not skimp on the recording. You're only as good as your product. Spend the money on the recording.
I feel the material that we've put out on this album is the strongest material we've ever done. But I feel like I'm probably always going to feel that way about the next album every time, because we're always pushing ourselves to produce better material and challenge ourselves as musicians.
Walking Corpse Syndrome and I have done 2 previous records. This would be the 3rd, and every time we've done this, it seems to have gotten heavier and heavier.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna do Open Wound next.
Okay, fine. Still gonna drink this beer though.
I'm gonna drink this beer too. Is it too early for beer? No, I'm awake.
Sean was a little bit nervous, especially being first. Some of the songs are hard, and getting him down and all, you know, in a reasonable number of takes and not killing himself in the process caused him a little apprehension. But he did really, really good job, and everything turned out great.
Whoa!
You guys like that?
Holy shit.
When you're in the spotlight, when you're recording, you know, you're self-conscious. You're like, God, don't fuck up, you know, or is my stuff sounding like shit or whatever. And getting that feedback from your fellow bandmates, your family, essentially is important. Because then it takes away that what if.
I just kind of feel a little bit like you guys are like, all right, he's wasted too much time. Just tell him it's great. We'll just move on.
Oh, Jimmy, he found us out. Oh shit.
God damn it.
Oh shit.
Get your ass back in there. We're going back to Wolf.
Are we really?
No, it was really good.
That song was brutal. Well, it's super difficult recording those. Like playing them live, you can be a little sloppy on your actual each individual attack, but when you're recording it, every single note has to be there. Yeah. So I had to focus on every single stick placement and make sure it was perfect.
Right.
Check. Hello, check. Where are my menses? I want some hookers, some blow, hookers and blow.
Leif is one of those vocalists. He's charismatic as fuck. He's got the right look for it. His growls are insanely good. And I think if we ever try to replace him, it would be impossible. I don't think we ever could. There's only one vocalist like Leif, and I hope that motherfucker sticks around for a long time, because he's good. He's damn good.
I will be Houston. I will be forget. I will be Houston. I will be forget. Hey!
Yeah, I like that one.
Is that Matt back there? Tell him his face gave me diarrhea.
Yeah, but I like the diarrhea on my face.
Let's do the next one. Then we're gonna go to this one to the chorus, okay? Cue.
There's a wolf in the nursery. Should it be lower? It almost needs to be more low. There's a wolf in the nursery. That was, yeah.
Oh, and I just changed my strings like 2 days ago, so I'm probably gonna be in trouble. Like, not really in trouble, because I think that it's gonna be fine, but I'm probably gonna, like, Jimmy's probably gonna yell at me. Tana's definitely gonna yell at me. Like, why did you wait until Thursday to change your strings? And I'll just say it's because I didn't feel comfortable waiting until Friday.
Yeah, I like your backpack.
Dude, I'm gonna do
Squat thrusts.
squat.
Are you planking? You gotta plank.
Squat. I'm
Plank.
Superman.
Plank.
I'm trying to.
Your legs and hands have to be straight, like a board.
They were straight, but he was bent.
Hey, those are some epic squats, right?
Dude.
Gains. All right.
Oh my Jesus.
Oh.
Oh fuck. Gains.
So many games.
Gains.
I didn't think I was gonna get a workout today. Somebody said, "What's it gonna be like when Matt comes?" And Tana said, "Like, the dynamic's gonna change." And I'm like, "Oh, that's me. It's my middle name, the Dynamic Changer, Matthew, the Dynamic Changer Bile."
That's a pretty big middle name.
Uh-huh.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I just want you to know, I sweated my balls off in these yesterday.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks.
Don't fuck it up. No pressure, right?
Right.
Every once in a while, you know, you're trying to record and I'll just fall flat on my face. Oh, fuck. I'm like, sorry, Jimmy, I gotta start over, you know, and we start over and I know exactly what I gotta do. So it's a lot of mental work, but it's also very fun. Like every time we go in and we do it, you know, we're up in our game. We're coming up with new stuff. You know, we're getting more technical. We're becoming better musicians.
Greg was super laid back. His parts are pretty straightforward. Didn't really take him all that long, certainly not compared to the rest of us, to get all of his stuff done. So he was really laid back and kind of casual, but super supportive with the rest of us about the whole affair.
Okay,
Awesome.
Are we doing bass now? Is that what we want
No,
to do?
Matt.
Matt.
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Oh, very nice. Parts are successfully recorded for the drums and some vocals, now guitar, and then bass, and then guitar.
What's your rate,
or
bro?
guitar and then bass. I don't
He
know.
is in the bathroom.
But yeah, all the drums are done. Yes. I'm happy. Oh, sorry.
I'm working through lunches, boys. I also have APIs, which could sound a little different too. Why don't we record a little bit with this?
Okay.
And I'll flip it to an API and see if that does anything for us too.
What is the API again?
It's a different preamp.
Oh, okay.
It puts mid forward a little bit instead of so much. This one will saturate some highs into it and lows as you thicken it. The APIs will put more mid range into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay for him.
More mid range?
Yeah.
Let's try that.
I was not as well rehearsed as I should have been. I thought that I was going to be able to kind of glide in and just be ready to go. The first song we hit was Wolf in the Nursery. For whatever reason, we play Wolf in the Nursery faster on the album than we do live. And so during all these practices as a group, we're playing it like 5 to 10 beats per minute slower than we do on the album. So we show up, it's the first song we decide to do, and I'm just struggle bussing on it.
A little fast for you.
Yeah, it's weird.
We might have to take it section by section.
Yeah, we're gonna take all these section by section, Jimmy.
I'm saturating that preamp pretty fucking hard, almost into red.
Okay.
By the end of the third day, when I was tracking my guitars and it was taking a lot longer than we anticipated, we decided to not record any more vocals, focus just on the instrumentation. And since Leif is easy to set up, just a mic and a booth, it would be a lot easier for him to just come back at a separate time. So we're gonna skip vocals and just hammer out instruments from.
Yeah,
I think that's
here
a
on
good
out.
idea.
hopefully, God willing, we do it quick enough where we can get another vocal in there, so maybe we can have two.
Maybe.
songs, right? Maybe. But like, I think that should be our main focus. Is focus on two.
Right.
This whole 5 thing probably not gonna work out.
No, I don't see that. We're gonna get all 5 done at this
Right,
point.
and you can come back
And
and
I can come back.
hone those out without us
Yeah.
relatively
Yeah,
easily.
and I'm pretty flexible, like during the week, if you can fit me in if there's time open and stuff.
So how are these songs difficulty-wise for the rest of...
This was my more difficult one. So like when we did pre-pro, this one took way longer than any other song. So I anticipate that it's going to go a bit faster for a bunch of them.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, there's going to be parts on all of them, but Wolf Nursery is fucking hard.
Right.
Because it's so fast.
Do as much as you can and pick away at it, eventually be done.
Rather than cut corners and make things sound less tight, especially in this genre, I would rather take the time, make it as tight as it can be, and kind of let the chips fall where they may. If more time is needed, then that just needs to happen.
So Matt, more you. Yes?
He's got it. We've fucking done 2 albums together. It's never been a problem. We always get it done.
Right.
And it's like you said the other day, we have to come back one more and come back one more. You know, as long as we can get one song.
I think we can do it. Play tight. I know.
Strengthen up your shit, pussy, sweetheart.
All comes down to how fast you track it.
Agreed. So, we should go all Matt today.
It's good because I didn't even write the vocals for one of the songs yet. So
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god.
Jimmy's like, all right, go away.
All right, short lunch. Let's go. Woo! Back to work.
Matt said when we were there to both Jimmy and I, because we were giving him shit, just back up, let me do my thing. Don't criticize me, support me. I'm like, okay, sorry. You're doing a great job, man. Let's go. It did help.
Tanner really is a badass. Being able to do the bass parts and have so little time to prepare for it, getting in there and knocking out the bass parts and like cranking them out, I think Tanner did very well.
So some of the songs, the bass parts were written by a prior bass player. And some parts that weren't written by the previous bass player, I had to write for my own self, for us, so that they were cool and sort of fell into what I think are Matt's requirements for how Walking Corpse Syndrome should sound. But the picking style is a little different, at least for me, from how I do it on the guitar, so I had to alter that a little bit, which is a challenge. So I'm doing all of this stuff, and then I set that down and I play my guitar, which is really wild because, of course, the strings are smaller, it's just a smaller thing, and it's my instrument now. Like, oh. So the first couple of seconds are just like, this is really small and... Wolf in the Nursery, the solo for that, I didn't have one down. Still technically don't, even though there's one recorded, so I'm going to be learning that one. It took me many fucking takes. It was really frustrating. I was really annoyed. Not necessarily with the process, just like, why can't I make this sound good? So Jimmy and I talked for a minute and we just kind of... A couple takes later, it was done. Just play more like myself and not play to the magical audience, play to my fingers and me. There it was.
What the fuck? Anna.
What?
I was doing
Don't beat yourself up. But just shake it out. Shake it out. Take a deep breath.
Dude,
I think that was better than the first time.
That was really fucking good.
Sometimes there's an area of frustration that happens in the studio, and that's where it's important to acknowledge it, figure out tools to work through it, and get the best performance out of the guys and gals.
This was the first time that I couldn't be there for the whole studio time. The time that we could be in the studio is the time that I normally have my kids. In order to like try to make that all work out, I had to like come for like basically 1 or 2 days. So to not be there during every step of the recording process is tough, you know? It takes a lot of trust that like the people in my band know what they're doing, and I can trust them to always fight for the best take possible and the best version of the song possible.
This is Neil. He's an alcoholic. He likes long walks on the beach and ponies. He likes walking ponies for long walks on the beach.
We have a new bassist. His name is Neil. He's been on the Missoula music scene before. He's a phenomenal musician.
Phenomenal bass player. When it came time to, like audition and playing the parts and stuff, he came in and he's just like, I got this. And he just totally started playing stuff. And we're looking at each other like, this guy's a badass. Holy fuck.
It took me a while. But I think these guys thought I just walked in and started playing the songs. They didn't realize I'd been practicing for hours, you know?
He had like 2 or 3 practices before his first show with us and just fucking nailed it. I'm loving having him on board and excited to see where it goes with him.
He's so far performing adequately.
Yeah, that's it?
That's it.
They want you to drink milk because what are they going to do with all the cows otherwise?
Are we doing wheelbarrow races?
No. Tana's gonna try to spin me.
Oh my god.
You stacked
Matt, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, we're gonna God damn. I lose my core. We're gonna wheelbarrow race to Leif and back, and when we get to Leif, we're gonna switch, and then we're gonna come back. It's antics. We're engaging in antics.
2, 1, go.
Go! Switch! Go! Go! Neil by a nose! Oh god! Sparta!
We see our friend bands in Spokane, Seattle, Salt Lake, these bigger cities, they get to open up for big bands a lot, and it just comes down to access, which is how do you get your music out to people. In a certain sense, if you want to be successful, you have to do successful things, which means being ready, being prepared to be successful. And so we opened up for Suicide Silence a little bit ago in Jerome, Idaho. And so we've gotten this opportunity to open up for big bands, not in our hometown. Like we've opened up for Born of Osiris here in Missoula with Lorna Shore, but that's pretty much it. That's the biggest band we've opened up for. We haven't played the Wilma. Do you see my frustration, right?
To erase this message, press 7. To send a reply message, press 8. To save it, press 9. Hey Matthew, this is Roxy from Logjam Presents. I don't think we've met before. I was just calling to see if Walking Corpse would be interested in opening for Testament and Anthrax on August 20th at the Wilma. If you wouldn't mind giving me a call back, that would be great. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. End of message.
August 20th, we have the wonderful opportunity to open at the Wilma for Anthrax and Testament. I think it's the biggest show to date for the band. Certainly the biggest one that I've been a part of, and we played some pretty decent shows. The Suicide Silence show comes right to mind. It's pretty freaking exciting.
It's crazy. I never thought I'd play the Wilma. It's just like, the hometown venue. It's the bigger one, but I never thought I'd play that, so hell yeah.
It's the place in town to play, so yeah, that's pretty cool. To say that I got to play on stage at the Wilma is cool.
I'm super excited for it because it's sort of, I get to check off like a bucket list item, you know? Anthrax is one of the big four. Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. And I get to play with one of the biggest metal bands on the planet. Like, why wouldn't I be excited about that?
Getting to share the stage with those two bands is going to be very exciting. I mean, we've played with a lot of big name bands before, you know, like Wayne Static, Suicide Silence, Decapitated, but this is Anthrax. So, I mean, it's definitely the next level.
We were talking and we're hoping that maybe this can sort of open doors for even other local bands and they can get on some bigger shows. Because if you don't raise up the whole scene together, the whole scene falls apart super fast. So we're hoping that, like, yeah, this is like a badge we can pin on our chest. Cool, we get to play the Wilma with Anthrax. Fuck yes. By the way, there's some other really kick-ass local bands that deserve it too.
So it's been a goal of mine for 18 years to play the Wilma, and I finally got to do it. For whatever reason, like Anthrax and Testament did not want to have recording during our show even, and that's okay, you know, that sometimes like we don't get to have everything we want. We all have the same goals, we all love and respect each other, and we're all there to like be badasses and be awesome people. And so everything else is secondary. Like, it's okay to be nervous, it's okay to like make mistakes. We've done this before and we can recover from anything. And we went out there and we had a fucking awesome time.
It's not more payback. There's always going to be a few. I don't know. Kick ass.
Just fuck the corpse.
And they did it. They chanted. Fuck the corpse.
Yes.
So this has been a bucket list year. Been able to play the Wilma, featured in Kerrang, featured in Metal Injection.
We got, well, with the Anthrax show, the next day, Kerrang magazine did an exclusive with us. And it immediately took off because we had a lot of promotion behind it on top of that. And now, as of the day, we're averaging like 3,000 views a day on YouTube.
Wolf and the Nursery has been doing fucking amazing. We broke 61,000 views on YouTube. We've hit 12,000 plays on Spotify. It's been our most popular song to date, getting thousands of new listeners all across the world. And we've been working with a company out of Russia to make the lyric video. And we were able to secure an exclusive on metalinjection.net, which is one of the biggest metal sites in the world. So that was pretty amazing. It's the first time we've been on there, and it feels fucking good to check that off of my bucket list.
Here I am trying to look at the stuff.
Fucker, every time you talk, I have to second guess myself now.
Yeah, welcome to my fucking world. Milk. Milk.
Milk.
Milk.
Milk.
Pillow.
Bag.
Pillow.
Bag.
Bag.
Bag. Pillow.
Shopping bag.
Bag.
Hey, I took a flight the other day and I got jet lag.
Leg.
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 Look at those mountains.
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 Cotton shirt.
Is that a Montana thing?
Mountains? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of mountains in Montana.
No, I mean, yes. Well, shit. Touché, sir.
So, I grew up here, Brady, Montana. You can see there's Great Falls, you go 50 miles north. Brady, Conard area, that's where I grew up. My farm is right around there, but not anymore. Now, I'm officially done with Brady, Montana. Well, not officially done with it, but officially done with the farm. And I am living in Missoula now.
And yeah, I had 6,500 acres up there, and I gave it all up. Because what's the point of doing something that just makes you miserable?
But I'm not driving back and forth and worried about it all the time. And I can be around my band and do stuff. So yeah, because every time I have to go from Brady and you go, and then you come all the way down this sumbitch all the way here. And then I go all the way back 2 days later, and I go all the way back. And I would do that about 30 times a year.
Cutting on my losses, and I got a pretty good nest egg saved up, and give the band a more of a legit shot too. If I'm around more, I think I can help out a lot more and do more things and stuff like that. So, yep, last one. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about it. I don't have anything to fall back on now.
Spring tour. What we're gonna shoot for is we're gonna shoot to get onto a bigger tour, like opening up for a bigger band. I don't think that we're gonna have enough resources to do a full month out, but I know that they talk about doing like half tours, so I'm gonna shoot to do a couple weeks, like 3 weekends, a couple weeks, try to find something that's like picks up close by, maybe hopefully drops off close by.
Yeah.
And then
Close-ish would be good.
What is it?
Closest would be good because the band vehicle thing is still an issue.
Matt's really good at 2 things. Well, 3 things. He's really good at like marketing and promotion. He's really good at playing guitar, and he's really good at wrecking vehicles in the winter. He is top notch on that. So he wrecked it for the 3rd time.
I'm crossing my fingers that a band vehicle might just like fall from the heavens.
Right.
Be fully insured. Oh, hey, Leif.
Hey, Leif.
Oh, morning.
Hey, Leif, good morning.
Move your shit so I can put my feet where my feet go.
Sorry. Yeah, so we got the vehicle situation that we got to figure out. We'll figure something out. We might have to rent something.
That's kind of what I'm seeing happen.
Yeah, we might be able to like give handies at Walmart in order to like borrow somebody's vehicle. I don't know. Like we've got friends who have like Suburbans and stuff. So
why Walmart? Let's go somewhere a little higher class and get a better vehicle.
Target. I have a goal of like actually going on a big tour, opening up for a big band, and then eventually like trying to do a tour where we're the big band and like people are coming to us, and then we play the Wilma as the headlining act. And people are in the theater shouting, "Fuck the corpse! Fuck the corpse! Fuck the corpse!" I found a way to keep like fucking like climbing that ladder, you know? And it's like at a certain point, you know, like you can't live a hopeless life anymore. I know this is gonna contradict everything that I've said, but like you can't live a life where you think that things are just gonna keep getting worse. Because all that does is just puts a gun to your head and you're just waiting for that trigger to get pulled. But what I've learned is life is so much better and so much more awesome. And if you're willing to like pull the trigger, you should be willing to do fucking anything else. Anything. You should be willing to rip out all of the fucking stitches out of your life and start over fresh. So that's kind of what I did.
We love every one of you. Thank you for keeping metal alive.
So when you talk about like, is there still hope for this band to make it? Absolutely, there's hope. Because we're not dead yet, you know?
There's a wolf in the nursery!